Welcome to another video from your NDSS team. In this video, we will present the Infrastructure and Facility Management System, in short, IFMS. The Infrastructure and Facility Management System provides a tool for the infrastructure and facility manager to manage their day-to-day business operation. The main concepts of IFMS: the management of infrastructure such as land, buildings and installed equipment. It allows adding assets from other PAO structures. The creation of a structure with the option to define as many levels or sub-levels as necessary. Possible actions is the upload of documentation or to initiate service requests, serial number associated to an MRIN, meaning the adding of a serialized item which has been codified in NDSS. There are two different modes using the Facility Explorer: utilization mode and edit mode. The utilization mode is a mode most likely used by the facility manager, where the edit mode will be used by the infrastructure manager. In the utilization mode, you can create service requests and do maintenance planning, where in the edit mode, I can add, update, delete or move a node within my structure, and I can update the attributes. We can have 5 types of nodes. The root site, which is on the screen, number 1 by default. Number 2, a node with a description only, but no element type associated with it. As you can see on the screen, there is no element type. Then number 3, a node with a description and an element type. Number 4, an existing asset within our PAO structure with an element type associated. Number 5, an existing asset from a PAO structure with an element type associated and a name or description added to the description of the node. Then we have an element type. An element type is used to define the asset category and subcategory, associating it to an NDSS group class. This will help to identify the element type within the Facility Explorer hierarchy. Additionally, it can define the type of maintenance in the maintenance planning process. In the print screen, you see the different type of element types that could be possible in the system, where you can see the group, the category and the subcategory and the name which has been given by the user. Let's go to NDSS for the demonstration of the Facility Explorer hierarchy creation and the element types. In NDSS, we go to Facility Management. We will have 2 buttons, Facility Explorer and Element Types. We click on Facility Explorer and you will see automatically the default root site. To start building your structure, you go to Edit mode and start building your structure. By going to the plus sign, you can add a node. And in this scenario, I created a node with a description only. By clicking on the line, I can go into edit mode again to change the node itself. And now I'm going to add an element type. So the element type here in this scenario is related to infrastructure and land, because it's a camp. And the node I'm going to put in, the comments, is new HQ . Okay. And by hovering over the node, I can actually look at the node, comments, save, and now the first level has been recorded. Initially, it was a node with just a description, but then I added an element type, which was already predefined previously. I will now create two different levels under Camp Valeria. Go to the plus button, parking facilities, okay, and I'm going to create one more. Medical facilities, and okay. Now you will see the default is the root site. We have a node with a description, which is Camp Valeria, with an element type associated, and I have two levels under Camp Valeria with only a node with a description for the time being, which is medical facilities and parking facilities. And I save. Before we continue in the creation of our facility infrastructure, we will go to element types. I will save and I will close this edition. Then element types. By refreshing, I will see all the element types which have been created previously in the system. And by using the plus button, I can add a new element type. I will add one new element type. Parking facilities. And the group category, as you can see, by default, it is opening up a selection screen. And by start typing text, for example, parking, it will find automatically, in this scenario, the subcategory. And I save. In the element type definition, I can also choose to select attributes. There are some pre-defined attributes which are linked to the serial number of the asset associated to this type of element type. For example, by start typing, I can see purchase cost. and, for example, created after 2013. I can also go to the right and add my own attribute names, for example, parking slots, because later on I want to define how many parking slots I have in this type of element type, and save. The attributes are used to provide more information on the different levels of nodes related to the element types within your facility structure. Another feature within the element type definition is the attachment of an icon or a picture to present the element types with a picture within the Facility Explorer hierarchy. As an example, you go to the button Attach Icon. In this scenario, we are talking about parking facilities. You will see now the P for parking, and I save. Another icon, for example, I have here an element type medical facilities. I use the Edit button, go to Attach Icon, and I have a red cross symbol for medical facilities, and save. That's the adding of an icon to an element type. So, as you can see, we have a couple of element types already defined. Now we go back to the Facility Explorer. You will see here medical facilities and parking facilities. I am going to add the element type. I go to Edit mode. I'm going to edit the medical facilities node, and I'm going to add the element type medical facilities. And I'm going to do the same for parking facilities. I'm going to associate it to element type parking facilities. And then I save. And now you will see the icons recorded for the different element types. So we have a node with a description associated to the element type, and the element type has an icon recorded. To continue, now we would like to add an asset coming from a PAO structure. So I'm going to search for assets. I can do that by group class, serial number, nomenclature, or element type. I can also go to the column chooser here and right-click mouse and select column chooser and add columns, or I can remove columns by saying right-click mouse and say remove this column. It is drag and drop like this. Now I'm going to search for an asset that I can record in one of my nodes in the facility structure. For example, I'm going to search for an HVAC system. Search. And I have 3 HVAC systems in my system under a PO structure. And now I'm going to drag and drop a HVAC system in my medical facilities. And as you can see, now I have a node with a description, element type medical facilities, with an icon, and an HVAC system with a different element type. I save. I will widen the screen. As you can see, I have different element types now within my Facility Explorer hierarchy. I am going to add a few more emerins. I will search for parking, and I will drag and drop parking north and parking east. And as you can see, because they are associated to element type parking, automatically the icon is presented. And I save. You can also drag and drop one of the existing emerins from one node to another node. So for example, parking north is now under medical facilities. So now I have 2 parking areas, one in general parking facilities and one parking area, which is parking north, is under the medical facilities. I can also add emerins from different PIO structures, for example from fleet. So on my parking, in my medical facilities area, I also have an ambulance. So I will search on ambulance, and I will drag and drop an ambulance to my parking area. As you can see, the element type ambulances has an icon recorded. Therefore, you will see the ambulance icon associated to the element type ambulances. And I save. So for the moment, I have presented 4 types of nodes. Number 5 is the existing emerin and adding a name or description. For example, if I go to parking east, I go to edit, and I can add a name here. For example, this is parking P1. I can even give it an attribute value. For example, I have 45 parking slots. Okay. And now you'll see in front of the node description, I have a name which says P1. I can do the same for the parking, which is under medical facilities. Add it. And this is P2, which only has 10 parking slots. So this is how you create a name or description to specify even into detail the different nodes within your hierarchy, and by looking at the attribute value, you can actually provide more information. In this scenario, I said how many parking slots we have. This is the presentation and the demonstration of the 5 different types of nodes we can have within our structure. So I demonstrated the 5 types of nodes. Save, and then I will close the addition. And now we are in the utilization mode. In the utilization mode, this is where the facility manager can use the structure by selecting any level within the structure and go to create service request to start the service management process if any facility management needs to be done on any level of nodes within my structure. Because I added an attribute in my element type and node, on the right I see now parking slots 45 and all the serial number attributes which are loaded to the element type. So I set 45 parking slots. If I go to the other parking, you will see 10 parking slots. So this is how you can create a facility infrastructure within the Facility Explorer in NDSS. We can also add documents to any of the node levels. For this, I will create another node. I will go to edit mode. I'm going to create a distribution box and I'm going to add a node. (16 amperes, 2 times socket). And I'm going to add 3 times socket 32 ampere. As an example, the documents can only be shown here. To add a document, we have to go to Save. Then we go and close the addition. We have added the distribution box to the Camp Valeria structure within the hierarchy. Click on distribution box and then go to documents. I added a file. When I open up the file, I have an example of what could be a distribution box. And I save. And now you will see the paperclip icon in front of the distribution box, meaning there is an attachment. I can go to edit mode and I can drag and drop the distribution box in another structure. In this case, I will add it to my medical facilities. and I save. Close the addition. And I added a note with a description and an attachment. So I showed you how to create element types, use the attributes also to create your own attributes. We discussed the 5 types of nodes, which by default is the root side, number 1. A node with a description but no element type, number 2. A node with a description and an element type, number 3. An asset with an element type associated, which is number 4. And number 5, an asset with an element type associated with it and the name and a description.